Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Healing Embodied podcast. I don't know if you can tell, but your girl got an adult microphone. I'm gonna be honest, I've been using just like my computer or my phone because I'm just gonna blame it on growing up poor and that's just how I did things for a very long time. You just work with what you got. But I have finally taken the step to be a full-grown adult and get a podcast mic. So here we are. I hope you can tell that it's different. I hope this is a nice one. But that's besides the point. Today I have the amazing, the wonderful, the wise Sarah here with me today. She is the co-creator of the Healing Embodied Practitioner Training Program. She is my co-coach, my right-hand woman, my work wife, all the things. And today we're going to be talking about what makes a truly effective therapist, coach, or practitioner. So, welcome, Sarah. Thanks for being here.
Yay, thank you so much for having me back. And I'm sure everyone can tell that I did not get an adult microphone. I am still using my cheapy little headphones. So we'll see how this goes. But thank you for having me back.
Okay, you're next. We will get you a microphone next. Yeah, so glad to be having this conversation. It's something we're both so passionate about. There's a lot of mixed messages out there about like, okay, what makes a good therapist or coach? Is it their modality? Is it how long they've been in practice? Is it their resume? And yeah, those things can definitely add to or speak to a practitioner's professionalism, might play a huge role in how they attract clients. But there's something that we have found in our over 10 years of professional work that rises above the rest of all these things when it comes to cultivating an effective therapist-client relationship. And it might surprise you because it's not something that is in textbooks or it's not widely talked about. But, during our training, there was kind of this message that you have to be a blank slate, that you're kind of like a tool for your clients to work their shit out on. And you kind of have to fit yourself into this rigid role or this kind of squeaky clean image of what it looks like to be a therapist or practitioner. And I don't know if you can remember any of those, types of things in particular from our grad school training.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I definitely remember the blank slate training. And I think what happens when you function from this blank slate mentality is that it becomes modality first versus human first. Like the modality is the thing, whether you are like cognitive behavioral or dialectical behavioral or person-centered or I don't know, what are all the other ones? All the other versions of therapy out there, there are so many of them, so many different modalities. It's like that's the thing that's leading the way versus the human leading the way. And I mean, I definitely have memories, Chelsea, of you and I in grad school trying to do the like, how does that feel for you? Oh, thank you for sharing that. And it was just gross. Like I remember us almost laughing about it and like this feels so inauthentic. It feels so fake to me.
Oh my gosh. I love all of that. And what you said was really powerful. It's like it becomes about modality first versus human first. And you said the word inauthentic, which is leading us to what it is that actually makes your work really powerful and effective. And that is authenticity. Like in our work with thousands of actual humans, we have found that authenticity is what makes you the most effective. It's your ability to be human, like you said. Quit digging at the couch, sir. Okay, sorry. I unplugged this because I never mind. Okay. So we want to talk a bit more about why why authenticity is kind of this surprising secret that makes you a more effective therapist, coach, or practitioner. We want to talk about like why this works, how it works, and the ways that authenticity can make you more effective as someone who works with other people.
Yeah, and one of the main reasons why authenticity is so important and is the thing that makes you the most effective practitioner is because it shows your clients, it models for your clients that it's okay to be human. You are showing up in your humanness, and in doing that, you give them permission to show up in their humanness. So many people come to therapy or coaching, they seek out support and services because of a quote unquote problem that they're experiencing in their life. And when we look at that more deeply and we start to peel back the layers, often what's at the core of it is a battle with their own humanness, whether it's showing up in marital problems, other relationship problems, their career, in their weight and addiction, whatever it might be that they're experiencing as a problem in their life. At the core of it, it's I don't feel safe and okay in my humanness and who I am as a human. And so in you showing up as a human, not a blank slate, not a like perfect or fully healed person who's never triggered, never dysregulated, never gets upset, never gets hurt, that in doing that, you model for them that it's okay to be human.
Yeah, and what you're speaking to is the shame that a lot of people subconsciously hold when they're dealing with these things. They're dealing with these big changes or these big emotions, and they feel a lot of shame, like what's wrong with me? I need to fix myself because like feeling this way or experiencing this thing somehow makes me wrong or bad. And when you as the practitioner can model that it's okay to be human, that in itself is kind of the first step to unshaming that experience. And you create this environment of this shame-free space where everyone here is allowed to be human and to be experiencing exactly what they're experiencing. And you're showing your clients that you're just as human as they are. You're like, you're not, like you said, on this pedestal of like fully healed, perfect, and your clients get to experience a really authentic dynamic in their relationship with you, and they can see that their experiences and their emotions don't make them bad or wrong. They just mean that they're human. And I think about, Carl Rogers. He is like the founder of like person-centered therapy, and he says in his book on becoming a person, the more I can be genuine in the therapeutic relationship, the more helpful it will be. It seems extremely important to be real, to be real, because one of the most healing things for a person is to experience being seen and witnessed in a real relationship, not by some like cold blank slate, to have a real person hold space for them. And really, ultimately, your work as a therapist or practitioner is about helping your clients fully embrace their own humanity with more curiosity and acceptance and compassion. And, you being authentic and showing up as your human self, you embody and you model these values as you allow yourself to show up as your full, authentic human self.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something that I'm thinking of as you're talking through this, Chelsea, is like authenticity does not equal having no boundaries. It doesn't mean that you have no privacy as a clinician. It doesn't mean that you divulge everything about your life or your experiences or what you're going through to your client. It's not that the work then becomes focused on you. And I think what I've seen in like supervising other clinicians and in teaching other practitioners through our program is that a lot of people have actually a fear of being authentic as a practitioner. And I think a lot of that stems from the shame you're talking about, right? That they personally are working to feel safe in their authenticity and not be ruled by shame. And so, of course, that's going to poke through as they're learning to become practitioners and coaches and therapists. And I think a lot of that fear is also because for some reason there's this belief that in being authentic and being human and being real, you are like sacrificing your boundaries and your privacy. And it's actually quite the opposite. It actually like supports and maintains really healthy boundaries and privacy. And yeah, so being authentic does not mean no boundaries. It means just being real, being genuine, being a human.
Thank you for speaking to that, because I'm sure that that is a concern that a lot of people have. Like, well, does that mean I just kind of air all my dirty laundry, or I don't want to like make the session about me or like share things when the time is really about them? That's definitely not what we're saying. We're saying that, like, first of all, like letting yourself have very real embodied responses versus kind of sitting there taking notes. Like when someone shares something with a lot of emotion, that you're like showing them in your nonverbal language and verbal language that like you feel them, that you like that their story matters to you and impacts you as a human being, and that you feel with them. You're not this cold, clinical, calculated, okay, what's the right thing that I can say now? And, I have to make sure I say the correct term or use the correct CBT intervention. It's like, no, first let me be in this human experience with you, feel with you, because I'm a human too, and you're a human, and I'm impacted by you because we're both human. It has nothing to do with me being like, oh yeah, the same thing happened to me, and this is what I did, and here's what I said, and oh my gosh, it was just so triggering, blah blah blah. Right. There can be a time and place for that, depending on the kind of relationship you have with your client. But again, it's not about you divulging all your personal information and making the session about you. It's about like showing your clients that you're a human who feels and who gets it.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, that really clearly leads into the second thing that authenticity does for our clients, which is that it builds trust. When you are functioning from your own authenticity, your clients are able to trust you. Yes, faster, yes, with more ease, but just more deeply as well. They don't have to be afraid of how you're going to receive what they share with you. They're not going to feel this need to be the like quote unquote good client. Anyone who's gone to therapy before, I guess I'll speak for myself, but I'm going to say anyone who's gone to therapy before, you've probably felt that like, does my therapist like me? Like, am I the best client? Like, am I, that urge to say I'm sorry when you bring something really intense to session, and the fear of like, what if this is hard for my therapist to hear, my coach or my practitioner, my clinician to hear? And instead of that, instead of being afraid of how you will meet what they bring to you, they will trust that they can come as they are, and that you will meet them in that, no questions asked. Not because you are like this blank slate, buttoned up, nothing impacts me, and therefore you can say whatever you want because I won't be impacted, but because you're modeling for them how you meet your own humanness, how you're going to meet their humanness, and then they can start to meet their own humanity in that as well.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I even think about, healing embodied, and, you know, this is not the case for every therapist or coach, but, we do have a social media presence. And I mean, even on our website and in talking about our work, I obviously talk about my journey and my experience and the very real things that I have worked through. And I've met with so many new clients who already feel this sense of trust, even in our first session, simply because I vulnerably share my story about like how I'm a human too. And I have sat through my own darkness, heaviness. I've sat with my own and I continue to sit with my own human emotions, that I'm not some like, I don't know, divine being that has come to the planet to rescue you from your sins. Like I'm just as human as you are, and therefore like that creates this sense of trust. Like I can trust that she can hold what I bring because she gets it. She's human too. She's experienced this human thing as well. And so I don't need to, yeah, like apologize for feeling what I'm feeling. And, whenever we do have new clients, and this happens quite a bit, they'll start sharing something and they'll start tearing up and they're like, I'm sorry, I'm crying. And I'm like, never, never apologize for crying, because this is sometimes for some people, the one space where it actually is safe to fully express and feel. But so many people are used to apologizing for being human and having human emotions. And so there's a lot of unlearning that has to happen. And I feel like we do a really good job at modeling that it's okay. It's okay to feel and to be right where you are. Did you hear her slop drinking? Oh, okay. Anyway.
Um, Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's really making me reflect on something that's a huge pillar of our practitioner training program that, I mean, I think from the start, from conception, I knew that it was really important to both of us that this be a foundational part of the program, which is that you cannot safely take your clients someplace that you haven't gone yourself. And if you are going to function from that principle, you got to get comfy with your own authenticity, right? Like that's authenticity is I've walked that path. I'm walking alongside of you in this messy, wild, unpredictable, bizarre, beautiful human experience that we're all having. Yes, we have wildly different lives, but like I'm a human and I'm not going to try and take you somewhere or expect you to go somewhere that I'm not willing to go myself.
Yeah. And working in the system, psychiatric hospitals and, inpatient, outpatient centers have definitely, you see the clinicians with all the letters after their names, and you can just sense in the way that they facilitate sessions that they have not gone there themselves, because the way that they meet their clients or their patients' really big emotions is this kind of like, you need to button it up and here's the right answer to give you and here's the coping mechanism that you should be using when you feel that, like, it's very formulaic versus authentic and embodied, because you've been there yourself and you first meet that emotion with the compassion and the embodied knowing of what that's like to some degree, right? We're not all, having the exact same experience, but to some degree what it's like to feel sadness or grief or frustration. And so your client can subconsciously feel that you've been there, which creates so much safety when you work with them.
It's interesting. I love that you're bringing up the like your experience working in psych hospital. I've also worked in a psychiatric hospital and did some internship hours in inpatient, outpatient psych. And I think reflecting back, that was probably my first experience of like authenticity as a clinician and seeing inauthenticity from clinicians as well. And I mean, I remember it in the smallest details. Like there were other clinicians that I worked with in inpatient psych who would come into work looking very professional, but like dressed to the nines, like suits and heels and full face of makeup and beautiful hair. And in inpatient psych, I mean, I'm sure the listeners, not everybody's going to know this, but like the people there are in scrubs or sweatpants. They don't have access to makeup. They don't have access to all their hair stuff. They might not even have access to that outside of the hospital as well. Um, and I remember very specifically making a choice of like, I'm not wearing makeup to work. I'm not doing that. And of course, I still had to look professional, but I remember clients remarking on it. I'm like, you just look normal. Like, I can tell that you're a staff member because of your badge and because you're clean, you're buttoned up, but like you look normal. And I feel like I can talk to you because you look normal and you approach us as if we're just your peers. Obviously, there's still the professionalism, and you're not treating us as like people who are sick in a hospital that you're coming to preach to and save, and then you go home to your beautiful little house and we're stuck here. Like, you treat us as if we're humans because we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And even just something as, you know, your external appearance or your body language, um, can really say a lot about how you feel about the relationship with your clients. And it largely depends on the setting too, right? Like psych hospital setting, very different from like one-on-one setting. And um, but yeah, that was a comment I got a lot too. Not so much about the physical appearance, but I feel like I can talk to you because you treat me as a human, and I can sense that you see me as an equal. Again, not in role, but in value and in worth and in we are both humans, and therefore one of us does not have more or less value and worth than the other, even though, you know, they're in a really, really rough situation that's probably feels really humbling or possibly humiliating. Um, and yet there isn't this value judgment placed on them, because it's like I'm human too, and I am almost certain that if I was in the exact same circumstances as you, I would be right where you are too. Like I would be here too because I'm human and I am not above you or the complexity or difficulty that the human experience can bring.
Yes, mic drop. There it is.
Yeah, which I mean leads us to the kind of the next point of why authenticity is so important and why it works is, um when you develop this trust by being authentic and making this safe, shame-free space, you're actually able to dive deeper with your clients, because if your client doesn't fully trust you, then they're less likely to bring the real stuff into session. Things like shame, capital T trauma, or anything that they're convinced that no one else in the world experiences might get, left out or downplayed, in the session. But the real stuff is where the work happens, not the pretty stuff, not the stuff that's easy to deal with, but the real pain, the real messiness is where the deep work happens. And when you embody authenticity in your practice and you make it safe to be human, you cultivate trust with your clients. And when you cultivate trust with your clients, you create that safe and strong container where they can courageously share and be vulnerable and explore themselves and their struggles. And when you don't have this foundation of authenticity and trust, your ability to dive into those deep places with your clients might be hindered, even if it's on a really subconscious level. And you might not be able to really get at the root of what is really going on for them, because they're kind of just sharing the surface stuff because they're not sure if you can really meet them in those darker places.
Yeah, and so if the authenticity, you showing up from your own authenticity allows your clients to dive deeper beneath the surface, that then means that that's going to have a greater impact on your clients. You as a practitioner, your work together will have a greater impact on your clients. It will allow you to be who you are rather than trying to fit yourself into a rigid box, what you think a practitioner should be, a blank slate, constantly thinking about like, what am I supposed to say? What's the right intervention? What's the like perfect CBT response? Or like, what's the one skill I need to impart on them or teach them? It allows you to be you. It allows them to be them. It allows them to get their hands dirty without fear of what's going to happen, how you're going to feel about them. And they're going to see a much more magical, a much more potent version of your work together.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that a lot of trainings don't make space for, because when you're just trying to say the right thing, do the right thing, be the blank slate, be hyper professional, and not allow your own humanness to shine through, it doesn't make space for your unique magic to come through in the work, and the unique thing that's authentic and true about you to come through. Because if you're just focused on, oh, I am a CBT therapist, or I am a dance and movement therapist, and these are the things that we do, when you're just trying to kind of fit yourself into this box versus like, here is the full spectrum of my human experience and the things that make me me, you don't give yourself the permission to really play and explore and find the ways that this work really shines through best through the vessel that is you, the unique human vessel that is you. And you can kind of even go beyond this feeling of like seriousness in the work. I know for a lot of people, healing can feel really, really heavy because it feels very clinical. You know, we're talking about attachment and we're talking about trauma, like, which is all very important. And like, yes, we want to be able to talk about the serious things, but even in like, for me, humor is a huge part of my humanness, my authenticity, and in giving myself permission to be authentic in all aspects of who I am able to bring humor and playfulness and quirkiness in my work with clients. And these things that are quirks that shouldn't be in the professional space are actually some of the most healing things for my clients. They come in feeling like this heavy, heavy weight. Like when I work with clients with anxiety, there's like, it feels so life or death. And yes, I meet them where they're at. We like process the depth of that and the heaviness of that. And in me bringing also my playfulness and my silliness, I'm able to help them like laugh at their anxiety, and the like visceral physical relief that I see wash over their bodies is so powerful. And they're like, I've never been able to see my anxiety in such a way that I laugh at it. And now it feels so much less all consuming and so much less powerful. So even things like, yeah, your quirks, your humor, your creativity, those authentic parts of you contribute to the efficacy and the magic and the unique flavor of your work, even within the modality that you use.
Yeah, I love that you're talking about like the unique flavor, your unique magic, because everybody's going to bring something different to the table. I mean, I look at you and I, Chelsea, and like we went to the same graduate program. We work for the same company. We created this training program together, and we're pretty different clinicians. Like, yes, we have a lot of overlap. We have a lot of similarity, a lot of the core values of how we practice and support other people. There are a lot of similarities. And if a client comes into session presenting the exact same way and says the exact same things to me and then to you, the sessions will look wildly different. That's because your unique magic is not mine and vice versa. And so in learning to feel really safe in your own authenticity and valuing authenticity, you become so much more connected to your unique magic. So you are not trying to, yeah, impose or find someone else's magic or be the kind of clinician that you think you're supposed to be or that your school taught you you should be or the textbook told you you should be. You're not trying to figure out how to be like the perfect clinician for your client. You're not trying to be a chameleon who can just serve everybody and be the perfect fit for every single human on this planet. You start to feel really safe and comfortable in your unique magic, which again, going back a couple steps here, builds so much more trust and safety with your clients.
Yeah, and that really leads me to the final thing I want to speak to here is when you own your own authenticity, your unique magic, realize that yeah, you might not be for everyone because you're not trying to be all things to all people and fit yourself into a box and try to be all different types of therapists at the same time. You're like, this is me, this is the way I work, I'm really owning that, this is like what feels authentic to me, this is how my work works. Your work feels more fulfilling that way when you are owning your unique magic, when you feel authentic, when you feel like you're not trying to fit yourself into something that you're not or you think that you should be. You feel so much more fulfilled in doing your work. And guess what, everybody? Fulfilled people are way better at what they do. Like you can feel the depth of their passion when someone feels so fulfilled in their work. And I'll speak for myself. Like this is how I feel. I feel so fulfilled. I love that I get to be me and do freaking amazing, powerful work. It lights me up. It keeps me going. I feel so inspired. And this impacts my clients. The more authentic I am, the more fulfilled I feel. This feels better for me and my clients. They're not getting this kind of burnt out um yeah, copy and paste version of a therapist or practitioner. They're getting me. They get to be in relationship with me and feel my love, my true love and joy for the work and the true love I have for my client because they're a person and I'm a person and we're in relationship with one another. And to me, relationships are the vehicle of love. And so my clients can feel that. And just that alone, that being the foundation, like how much more effective and fulfilling is that relationship than one of kind of this removed, distant, stale uh, version of what you think you should be.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I mean, let's let's be honest here. There are a lot of burnt out clinicians in the world. There are a lot of clinicians, practitioners who feel deeply unfulfilled by the work that they're doing. And the work that they're doing is trying to help other people find fulfillment in life. And like, how does that work? Right? Like, ask yourself that. How does that work? Right? And what happens is that then the clinician feels so shameful about, like, I feel terrible about the work I'm doing, and yet I have to keep showing up and like pasting this smile and this energy of non-judgment on my face when I'm like crumbling inside. And then they feel shame. Going back to what Chelsea said earlier, shame is like the antithesis of authenticity, right? When you feel shame about your own human experience, then you don't show up in your full human experience. Then you don't allow your clients to show up in their human experience, right? Like all these steps we're working through, it works backwards the other way too. When shame and unfulfillment, is that a word? Lack of fulfillment is at the core of your practice and just your energy, then that's what's going to come through. And so it stands to reason that shifting that, letting the authenticity, the human first lead the way, you as a practitioner feel more fulfilled The people you're working with are going to feel more fulfilled. Everyone's going to be fulfilled. It's awesome.
It's a win-win. And there's so much I could say about burnout. And trust me, y'all, we have something coming for you about burnout because there's just so much to say. So for those who are feeling burnt out, I don't, I see you, I hear you. It is not an overnight quick fix. There are so many contributing factors to the burnout. But the one thing we want you to take away just from this conversation is we do not want you to feel shame for feeling burnt out. So I'll just say that. But we have a training coming for you, a free training on all about burnout, because again, we could do 17 other podcasts about burnout alone. But yeah, like when you are connected to your authenticity and you are more fulfilled in your work, you can show up for your clients with more congruence, meaning what you say, what you do, and how you feel are all matching. You show up with more integrity, you show up with more empowerment, with more vitality. And this naturally leads to better results for your clients and just a more satisfying relationship to your work, to your client. Your clients will love, like they will love that you feel so excited to show up for them. And they will feel like, oh, this is genuine care. This is genuine care. It is not a role that they are pasting on. They will feel the authenticity of the care that you have for the work that you do and for them as a person.
And so, how do you start to unlock this in your own practice for those out there who are listening to this and saying, like, okay, I hear you, I see you, and I have no idea how to be authentic in my work or to feel safe in my authenticity? Where do they go from there?
That's a really good question. Wait, what did you have in mind about?
We can cut that out. I was just going into this next section of like unlocking authenticity in your therapy practice. I didn't
Oh,
know if you want to promote the
yes,
practitioner
I do.
program at
Yes,
all,
okay.
or you can just talk about like start to get
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, start to become aware of all the ways that you've learned that authenticity is not okay and not safe. Like, get really curious about why that's been feeling difficult for you and where that comes from and what comes up for you. Always curiosity. That's one of our core pillars of our philosophy. Is just really getting curious and understanding versus going into, this is a problem that I need to fix. I'm not being authentic. I'm doing something wrong. Bad, bad, bad. So just get really curious because we've been there. We've absolutely been there. And ultimately, like, I want the future generations of coaches, therapists, practitioners, clinicians to know that they don't have to fit themselves into a role that chokes out their vibrance, creativity, and originality. That old paradigm, we're done. We're so done with that. Clients are done with that. I want the future generation. This is truly like a new paradigm of practitioners um, who lead with humanity and authenticity. Because the old way or the current way, honestly, just leads to unhappy and overwhelmed and underwhelmed people on both sides of the practitioner-client relationship. And while some therapists or therapists in training or coaches in training might worry that being too authentic, could lead to, ethical issues, like we've said before, there is a way to be authentic that doesn't sacrifice those principles, boundaries, professionalism, or the safety of the therapeutic relationship. And this is a key pillar of what we teach in the Healing Embodied Practitioner Training Program. This is so important to us to really feel into what that looks like, what that feels like for you, how to be professional, have boundaries, and be authentic and show up as a human and to own your unique magic. And, our practitioner training program, I'm so proud of it because we really believe that it fills a huge gap in the industry. Because right now, if you want to help people, if you want to work with people's emotions, if you want to have a career where you are helping people directly, your options are either the traditional path, a master's degree, which Sarah and I have walked fully that traditional path. She has licenses in 2 different states. I mean, we've walked the traditional path, and this is where a lot of this kind of rigid, stiff, clinical, we've had to do so much unlearning as well from the traditional path. So that's one option is, oh, well, I have to go the traditional path. I have to get a master's degree. Or the other option is like these short 3-month, 6-month coaching certification programs. And I'm like, whoa, whoa. Like, how can anyone call themselves an expert after only learning something for 3 months, especially working with people's bodies? So we're like, there is a huge gap in the industry when it comes to training people who want to work with other people. And so we created this program out of passion and desire, and also out of a real need to see this gap filled. And our practitioner training program, I truly believe it is like the alternative to a master's degree as far as quality and standards and integrity and ethics. It's for those who don't want to go the traditional path. You don't want to work in a clinical setting, but you want to help people in such a profound, powerful way, truly be an effective practitioner. We even got our modality certified or accredited through the Complementary Therapist Accreditation Association. So we did the things to make this as robust and legitimate and in integrity as possible. It's a year long because we really believe that's really the minimum to fully integrate this first into your own body mind, and to be able to learn and practice long enough to effectively guide other people to these places. So this is what the Healing Embodied Practitioner Training Program does. It's a year long. It's for those, again, who want to work with people's bodies, who want to bring their unique magic forward, who want to use creativity, embodiment, expression, and really, truly learn what it takes to do that in an ethical, effective way.
Yeah. And I mean, I just want to throw in there after a couple months of doing this program and seeing our students moving through this training program, just how rewarding it's been to see everybody start to really explore their authenticity. Something that you say to our students all the time, Chelsea, that I love is like, you will serve the world in a way that Sarah and I never could, right? Like every student is going to bring something. They have a gift that you and I could never have because it's just not our gift. The same way we have something that other people won't have, right? It's finding your own unique gift, and you're going to learn the theory, you're going to have the practice, you're going to practice so many more hours, I think, than you and I even did in 2 years of grad school. Just putting that out there. Like you're going to get so much hands-on learning and practice and guidance and support and refining your skill all within this container that is human first and authenticity first. And it's been such a joy to witness it in action.
It's my
I
absolute
could talk about it forever.
right. Like, don't even get me started. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna do a happy dance. It's the coolest thing we have ever created. Our next cohort begins February 2025. We have all the class dates set, baby. It's happening. We already have students enrolling. We are currently in the early enrollment period. So if you are interested in the Healing Embodied Practitioner Training Program, if you want to see if this is the best next move for your career, please schedule an info call with me. These are totally no pressure. I have actually just like loved doing these calls and talking with people who are interested in this program and hearing like what they're passionate about, what they want for their life, for their career. And really, I've honestly been doing like mini coaching sessions with people, like just inspiring them, empowering them to own their desires for their career and to feel empowered to take whatever next step is for them. So I love doing these calls. I've loved meeting people who are interested in this work and being a part of this huge paradigm shift in the industry. So I will post the link to book that free call with me in the podcast description. Is that what it's called? In the show notes. That's what it's called. I'm on so many different channels. I'm like, is it bio? Is it caption? What is it again? So I will post the link around where you can see this podcast. And I can't wait to chat with you and learn about you and hear what your dreams and desires are for your career. And, you know, if the Healing and Body Practitioner Training Program is a really good fit for you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you for being here. And we can't wait to chat with you next time. Bye, everybody.